Saddleback Leather, Classic Briefcase, size large, color tobacco, 3-month update. Here's a shot of it in the sunshine. I went on another 2-mile walk in sub-freezing temperatures with the bag, and same thing, when I bring it back inside, it's like the leather is all moist and sticky, and all the hardware gets all foggy and wet. And it actually smells really weird when I bring it back in after being out in the freezing weather. The structure of the bag after 3 months is actually getting really floppy. And it doesn't stand up as easy as it used to. I mean, I do have it in carabiner mode right now, so you can see those guys down there, like so. So I have it in carabiner mode right now to make it thinner. But even so, after 3 months, it doesn't stand up on its own as well anymore. It still will, and it will still stand up in carabiner mode, but sometimes you just have to brace it. One thing that I notice is that anytime I am packing up to leave somewhere, people are always staring at it. So I'll be sitting here fiddling with the buckle and shoving this thing up in here like that, like I do, like that, and people are always staring at it while I'm packing up, without fail. Alright, if you look at the side pouch where the water bottle goes, it's kind of baggy. It's like, doesn't really fit, but I've never had it fall out. I am going to do a water bottle fallout test though, before the end of this. And there's what I put in that one. Okay, so almost without fail, every time I go to open this thing with one hand, it always gets caught like this. We'll do a live test here. And you just try and pull it like that. It goes through again. So you just kind of pop it out. And then if you just want to like pull it up like that, you can get it sometimes. But lots of times it'll catch another loop. So you kind of have to... So when you undo it, pull it like that. But then you keep your hand in between this little guy, because it tries to jump back in there. So you just kind of slide it out with your hand in between there. Otherwise, see how this just wants to jump back in there? So it's kind of annoying. It happens all the time. So if you want to open it fast, you kind of have to have more dexterity than I do, I guess. Something kind of funny about having this bag now for 3 months is that my biceps are getting noticeably bigger. It's actually super funny. Because it's not that heavy. But here's what I carry in it. I have my headphones, 10-foot cable, thingy, thumb drive, and then on this side I have office key and a little notebook, Sharpie. And then I keep a couple of these. I think I've only given out like one of them though. These are the Saddleback little Bible things. I keep those in there just in case someone wants them, but usually people get really weirded out when I'm like, here you go, this is their business card. They like look at it and then they hand it back to me. And I'm always like, you can have it. And they're like, got some ducks in there. Keep my laptop charger under the gap underneath these pockets. It's a perfect spot for it. And you'll notice in carabiner mode that the front pocket is actually still accessible, even though the bottom is like sticks up now. Got some papers in there. Have other people's business cards in there. My business cards in there. And then we have my little tiny laptop in here. It's a little like 12.4 inch screen or something, so it's really little. I could totally put that in the medium briefcase, but I wanted the bigger one. Here, just have a whole bunch of folders. So that's what I carry. Then I also keep some Excedrin migraine in a little bag in there. Yeah, it's down there for emergencies. Okay, I'm now going to do the water bottle fallout test. So I talked about how it's kind of baggy in there. Like that. There's a lot of room there. Okay, so here's the fallout test. We're going to turn it totally upside down and see if it falls out. There's a good view of the carabiner mode, by the way, on the bottom, to give you a really good idea of what it does to the shape of the briefcase. So it just creates kind of a bow in that front pocket. So yeah, that water bottle is holding strong. It's even kind of full. Yeah, still doing good. Alright. Not too shabby. I guess the leather's a little bit sticky. So, just so you know, your water bottle's not going to fall out of there even if you turn upside down. You'll probably have more things to worry about, though, if you find yourself upside down. Also, during the last month, I took it on a milk run where I carried it over my shoulder to the store and I brought the dog, and I got 2 quarts of milk, and I stuck it inside of the bag. There's a nice shot of the back. Okay, next up is the mystery of the cracked D-ring holder thing. I can't remember what side it's on, though. Let's check the other side. Okay, yeah, it's definitely the other side. So I noticed this one day. This little guy right here, let's make it focus. There you go. Okay, right there. This is just normal usage, and this thing like has a big crack in it. So I mean, if you look at it, the pigskin is still holding up. So I have no idea what caused that. But it's just been like normal light usage. So I don't know if you can see it very well. Yeah, so just like this chunk taken out of it. It's like there's like a hole all the way through it. So I have no idea what that's about. So I'll be watching that hole's career with great interest, because that might be a warranty issue. And if I do send it in for that, then I'm definitely going to ask them to either weld or make this smoother, because this thing's super sharp. Speaking of the D-ring, when I shove the shoulder straps through it to go into backpack mode, that sharp piece right there, it is like fraying the threads. See if I can find them. Alright, like right here. Focus, focus, focus. There we go. See if you can even see it in the camera. Okay, right here. Focus. Right there. Okay, so you can see that the threads are... It's actually fraying the threads. This, that stupid thing right there. Alright, an unfortunate event that happened to my bag that I have been long trying to avoid since I got it, but it actually happened this time. The St. Bernard slobbered on it. It was her that did it. She slobbered on it, didn't you? She doesn't even feel bad about it. Anyway, so she slobbered it right there. It's like this dark patch now. I just kind of wiped it off a little bit. I didn't really clean it or anything because I wanted to see how it aged on there with the goober. But you can definitely see it. I'll show it from a few different angles. So you can see how it catches the light differently now in that spot. Yeah, there it is. Right there. That is freaking St. Bernard slobber. Yeah, joy. I'm sure some Chamberlains will fix that down the road when I see fit to do that. When it starts stinking too much or whatever. I carried this an additional 2 miles in sub-freezing weather. It did fine. It just smells kind of weird when I bring it in. And then also took it on another couple mile walk in backpack mode, in carabiner mode, which is always more comfortable. Backpack mode is more comfortable in carabiner mode, and you can see why. It's because right there. So, and I've left it in carabiner mode now for a little while, just because I wanted it to be thinner. So when I go into meetings and stuff, so I'm not like squishing between people as much. So, but I have decided overall that even though it's nice having it like thinner, like that, in carabiner mode, it doesn't stand up as well. So I think the benefit of it being thinner is not worth it with having to constantly adjust it to stand up properly. Also, it'll fall over more in my car when I'm driving around in carabiner mode. One thing I've noticed after 3 months of usage is that all the seams, all these like really square seams, they're all starting to get more roundy, especially up here. Like right here on these edges, instead of being really square and rigid, they're really rounded and soft, which is nice. And then randomly, one of the shoulder pads is like super hairy. Where's it at? Yeah, like right here. It's like super hairy on the side. I don't know why. It's like super fuzzy. Anyway, yeah, a lot of these seams, they're getting more round. These guys here, they're getting softer and more round. Here, especially this thing. It's like extremely soft and rounded instead of rigid. See how it's roundy? So this is how I keep it. I tighten it. I either keep it on the second or third, and then I grab this guy and just shove it up in there like that. And then it holds. It never falls out of there. So then you don't get the crazy elephant trunk thing you see in other YouTube videos where it just looks ridiculous. I had this bag on a weekend adventure with me, and another guy, I don't know if he was complimenting it or just pointing it out, but he said, "That looks like a riding bag." So there you have it. People think it looks like a riding bag. Actually, someone at work commented that I ride in on this bag in the morning because it's a saddleback bag, I guess. I don't know. So I'm officially done with carabiner mode, so it was fun to try it out. So while I tried it out, I had the belts go up further, like so, and I squeezed this thing really tight so it would stay like that. But I'm done with carabiner mode. It makes the front of the bag kind of a weird shape, like it bends it like that, which is fine, especially when as this softens up more, then it gets more of a rounded shape. Like the back, I think it looks perfect in carabiner like this. It just curves it a little bit. But in the front, kind of slants it, and it's because of this guy. So, yeah, I'm going to be done with it now. I'm going to switch back to thicker mode. And to do that, just take the carabiners off, like so. So there's the carabiners off, and then you just got to give these some more slack so that the bag can stretch back out. Alright, there we go. So you just stretch it back out like this, then you kind of have to grab these guys and warp it back like that so that they're not constantly tucking under. And you just give it some more slack, like so. There we are, back to normal. So these guys are a little bit lighter now because that's where I had it creased. I just squeeze these guys and they lighten up there, of course, so that it stays. And there we go. It is now back to the normal shape that we know and love. Right there. Here's a shot of the bottom. That's what it looks like after 3 months of wear. Here's a shot of the front. See all the scratches. See, this trunk is lightening up a little bit, but not too bad. It gets darker where you touch it a lot. And then of course the dents caused by these buckles are getting deeper and deeper. Right there. So one lady that saw my bag said that it was a beautiful bag and that it was enviable, and she said that it will only get more beautiful with age, which is true. And then I told her it was my 7-year wedding anniversary present for my wife, and she said, "Good job, wife." So people are constantly noticing this bag and complimenting it still. And you can see that the natural state of the gusset things is that this one is kind of a dent and this one kind of comes out because that's where the laptop sits. Like so. I left the bag in the car the other day, and it was pretty sunny outside, and of course, as you would imagine, the bag was extremely soft when I got it out of the car. It was like extremely soft and pliable. I know everyone's always complaining about how stiff they are. Man, just leave it in a hot car for a little bit. So, and the first thing I noticed was how floppy everything was. And so I actually grabbed this back part, because it's normally really stiff, and I grabbed it and kind of pulled it a little bit. And I think it's kind of kept that shape, because now it kind of has this, like, not that that matters at all, but that's just a thing to note. Like right here, it like sticks out. So I think I like stretched it. So just heads up, if your bag gets really warm and you start pulling on it, you might actually quasi-permanently stretch it. So heads up there. Don't pull on it or stretch it while it's really warm. Okay, an update on this thing. It still stays, so no need to tie it down. It still stays tucked in there. That's nice. After 3 months. There was a time where I was carrying this bag and I was walking down the stairs with somebody in like a business type setting, and I didn't have the shoulder strap on, and so it was just dangling like that, and each stair, it would like hit each stair as I walked, so that was kind of awkward. So you do something with the strap if you don't want to put it over your shoulder. And when I'm wearing the bag for short distances, I have it over my shoulder like such, and it's kind of, I have it tilted like this a little bit. That way, if I put my hand like this, I can still get into my pocket, like that. I can still put my hands in my pockets, and this hand kind of holds it back, like that. Otherwise, if it's all the way sideways like this, then my other pocket's totally unusable. But this starts getting very heavy on the shoulder, so I will, after a few minutes, I'll put it over my head, like so. Have it back like that, and then this pocket's pretty much shot, but it helps. And then you notice that when it is over the shoulder like that, you can see how I've done it so much that it's shaping the bag right there. So instead of meeting up centered, it kind of meets up over here, because that's how I carry it, and it's kind of squishing it, so it's just a little bit softer. A lesser bag would have totally disintegrated by now with this sheer amount of weight that I have in here, constantly resting on that. It is doing just fine. And then the other side, it rests a little bit differently. Actually, I don't even know if it touches. You can see it's hardly, it is bent and stuff here, but not as much as on that side. But it is soft and wrinkled there. I am now just going to show a close-up tour of a lot of the parts that have been worn. So here is the handle. You can see it's getting nice and shiny and like reddish colored. Scratches show up really well. Again, I keep this thing forward because if it's on this side, it digs into your hip. So you can just see the discoloration. I don't know where all that black came from. Tons of scratches. If your fingernail just barely touches it, it puts a scuff in it. And of course, it still smells good. Oh yeah. My wife said it smells like a leather store, which is always a good thing. So yeah, you can see there's a scar from the cow. This strap here gets a ton of wear, and it's baggier for sure, but it still holds the tongue in there nice and tight. The D-rings that I drop on the ground all the time, they look fine. I mean, they're a little scuffed, but totally okay. The strap is actually getting softer, which is nice. Like this thing right here, which used to hurt really bad, like if you push on it really hard, it actually moves now. Before it was like a rock. So it is getting a little bit softer. Of course, these things right here are getting softer. Right here, this part where it moves, it's really soft. And then I'm going to open it to show the rest. Go. See, it's kind of a two-hand operation here, which might be why people stare while you're getting ready to leave with this thing. Wear and tear of the inside of the bag. So I scratch up the pigskin like crazy, just reaching in there to grab anything. Totally scratch it up all the time, but it handles it really well. You can actually just brush the scratches out with your hand. Sometimes. Anyway, so that's how the inside looks. I think this flap on the bottom is kind of worthless because it's always curling up. So, I'm not really sold on that. This part right here, when you leave the bag open and just let it stand like that, puts a lot of wear right here. So, this part of the leather, right there, is actually extremely soft because it gets bent in so many ways right there. So right there is extremely soft, and of course, it's still holding up really well. The only thing is some of the stitching, I guess, came unglued or something. So, like, if you look in here where the pockets are stitched, it's like nice and flat. Nice and flat. Focus, there we go. You can see the pigskin pores. So awesome. And then this one, it's like coming undone. I don't know if you can see that. Right there. And it's actually like really sharp. So I don't know if it's going to like get untied or what, but some things just are coming undone with use. You can see there's a whole bunch of scratches and wrinkles. Pockets that get a ton of use. They're very scratched because I'm always reaching in there. Right here it gets scratched all the time. And then if you look down there, you can see how it's has these big wrinkles. That's because when you crank the bag tight with this thing, it like pulls up on it like that, and it crinkles it down there. Also, carabiner mode definitely contributed to that. And then of course a lot of the bag is like fraying and stuff, but it's holding together extremely well. You can see some frayed edges down there, right there. It's like nice and hairy looking. So I had this, I was at a business the other day, and the lady's like, "That's quite the bag you're carrying around today." So people definitely notice. This bag isn't if you want to be modest or go unnoticed, because people will look and stare and compliment or judge. Most likely envy you. But then they'll think you're crazy when you tell them how much it costs, which is always a very awkward conversation that I try to avoid. There you go. There's some more scars that I didn't point out. Or not scars, but scratches down there under there from usage. And then I don't know if I pointed this out or not, but I'm going to point it out again because it's awesome. Focus. Oh, there we go. Right there. That's a scar from the pig. Pretty awesome. One final note of my 3-month update on the Large Saddleback Leather Classic Briefcase in tobacco is that when I'm getting in and out of my car, so I get in my car, I reach over, kind of straight armed like that, put it on the seat, and then when I leave, I pick it up like that, and really start feeling it in the shoulder area. And I've actually had a sore arm from lifting it up and putting it down with a straight arm so many times. So what I do to even it out is One time I'll reach over and grab it with my right arm and lift it out, and then another time I will reach over my body and lift it over like this with my left arm, so that way at least I'm getting an even workout. Which sounds super dorky, but the thing is heavy enough that you do actually think about that stuff during the day. You're like, okay, I better put this on my other shoulder now so that I don't ruin my body. Or you're like, oh, I've picked it up with my right arm 7 times, I better start picking it up with my left arm. Because like I said, my biceps are noticeably bigger, or just more toned, so it's kind of funny just from lifting a bag all the time. So you'll get a workout after 3 months. You have slightly more toned biceps. Anyway, that's it. That's the 3-month update. Stay tuned for more. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Thank you. Okay, one last compliment I forgot to say. This guy saw this at a restaurant, and he's like, that looks like original leather. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that means. I didn't say that, but that's what I'm thinking. And he's like, is that like imported Italian? And I'm like, nope. Made in Texas, or Mexico, or whatever. Company's in Texas anyway. Anyway, he thought it was super awesome. And he thought it was original leather imported from Italy. Whatever original leather is. Anyway, that was one compliment I got.